Close your eyes, let go. Let your body sink into stillness. Tonight, you're not just resting, you're returning. Returning to a part of yourself you've forgotten. The part that remembers who you were before the world told you who to be. Before the doubt, before the fear, before the chaos. There was a voice within you, quiet but certain, that knew you were meant for more. That you had something inside you more powerful than circumstance, more enduring than pain, more precise than logic. That voice is not gone. It's just been buried beneath layers of noise. So let the noise fade now. Let your mind begin to breathe again. The day is done. There is no more pressure to perform, no more pretending, no more proving. You don't have to fight right now. You only have to remember. There's a reason you're here listening, a reason you're drawn to this frequency, this message, these words. Deep down, you already know that you've been asleep while awake, walking through life like a ghost of your potential. And now, here, in the stillness, your soul is whispering, wake up, not with force, not with noise, but with truth. Napoleon Hill once said that every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. That means nothing in your past was wasted. Not the heartbreak, not the failure, not the silence. Everything served you, everything shaped you, and now you're ready to become conscious again, not of the world, but of yourself, the real you, the one who commands life with vision, not reaction, the one who knows that reality bends when belief becomes unshakable. You've been told to chase, to hustle, to grind. But that's not where power lives. Real power is quiet. Real power is invisible. It lives inside your thoughts, in your ability to decide, fully, finally, and without apology, who you will become. Because that's the secret. It's always been the secret. You don't become successful by chasing success. You become successful by aligning every thought, every breath, every action with the person you're destined to be. And that transformation doesn't begin in the morning. It begins right here, right now, while the world sleeps, while your body softens, while your mind opens. This is when the reprogramming begins. Listen to me, and not with your ears. Listen with your soul. You are not average. You are not meant to blend in. You are not meant to play small, to shrink, to bow, to beg. You are meant to rise. You are meant to lead. You are meant to become the kind of person who commands the future, not fears it. But that level of power demands something from you. It demands that you eliminate every weak thought, every excuse, every limiting belief you inherited from a world that gave up on itself. You were never meant to think like the masses. You were never meant to settle. You were meant to walk with conviction, to speak with clarity, to stand when others kneel. And when it gets hard, man, it will, you don't flinch. You don't fold, you don't run, because every time you face resistance, it's not a sign to quit, it's a test. A test to see how deeply you want it, how serious you are, how long you're willing to believe in yourself even when there's no evidence yet. That's what separates the ordinary from the unstoppable. That's what Napoleon Hill knew. That thoughts, when charged with faith, become reality. That the only real limitations are the ones you accept. That the secret is not in your environment or your education or your background. It's in your mind. It always was. So tonight, let your old mind die. Let it dissolve. The one that doubted, the one that hesitated, the one that worried about what people think. Let that version of you fade into the darkness. Because something new is being born. A mind of purpose, a mind of discipline, a mind that doesn't wait for permission, but moves with power. A mind that speaks softly to the world, but screams to the soul, I am ready, I am worthy, I am becoming. You will not become great by wishing for it. You will not attract abundance by hoping. You must become obsessed. Hill called it a burning desire. An inner flame that refuses to go out, even when life tries to blow it away. That fire must live inside you every moment, even now as you drift to sleep, because this isn't normal sleep. This is the sleep of transformation. This is when your thoughts become roots, when the new identity you choose begins to hardwire itself into your subconscious, when the old lies are replaced by deep, undeniable truth. You are not a victim of your thoughts. You are their master. You choose them. You shape them. And in doing so, you shape your world. So from now on, your mind is your servant, not your enemy. It no longer sabotages you. It no longer clings to fear or doubt or scarcity. It believes in the unseen. It trusts the process. It moves in faith. And every night, it sharpens its focus. It remembers who you are and who you are becoming. You are the kind of person who finishes what they start. You are the kind of person who follows through. You are the kind of person who doesn't need the world to understand them because they understand themselves. You don't need applause. You don't need reassurance. You don't need guarantees. You just need vision and discipline and patience. Because if you have those three things, vision, discipline, and patience, you are unstoppable. So let the rest of the world sleep without purpose. Let them scroll and drift and waste time. You're different. Even while you sleep, you are building. Even in silence, you are growing. Because success doesn't begin with the morning sun. It begins now, in this quiet, in this sacred space between who you were and who you will be. And you are not afraid of that space anymore. You welcome it, because it's where rebirth happens. It's where power is forged. Every night, you will return to this place. Every night, you will rewire. Every night, you will choose faith over fear, desire over doubt, focus over distraction. You are now on a different path, the path of mastery, the path of becoming. And nothing will pull you off this path, because you have burned the bridges behind you. There is no way back to the old life, only forward, only through, only toward the life you were born to create. And now, let go. Let your body rest. Let your breath soften. Let the next few hours be filled with peace, but underneath that peace, purpose. You are reprogramming. You are remembering. You are becoming. There is nothing more powerful than a mind at peace that knows where it's going. You don't need to force anymore. You don't need to strive in panic. Because once your vision becomes clear and your desire becomes burning, life begins to bend. Not because it's easy, but because you no longer doubt. Doubt is the weight that kept your soul from flying. Doubt is the silent killer of dreams. It never shouts. It whispers. It sneaks in the back door of your mind and makes you question your own light. But tonight, you close that door. Tonight, doubt dies quietly, without a fight, because it's no longer welcome in the house of your future. Instead, you invite belief, not the shallow kind, not the kind that flickers when pressure comes, but belief that digs its roots deep, belief that refuses to move, even when everything shakes around it. This kind of belief doesn't need evidence. It is the evidence. You believe not because it's guaranteed, but because it's necessary. Because the cost of not believing is a life unlived, and that is a price you're no longer willing to pay. So you begin now, even in sleep, to walk different, talk different, think different. You let go of all the noise that distracted you, the opinions that weighed you down, the expectations that were never yours to carry. You let go of timelines, of pressure, of comparison. You realize you're not late, you're not behind, you're not missing out. You're becoming, quietly, powerfully, on time, on purpose. And while the world sleeps numb and unaware, you sleep with intention. You rest with direction. Because you know something they don't. The mind never stops working. Even now it's listening. Even now it's absorbing. Every word, every idea, every belief. That's why this moment is sacred. This is the place where kings are made, where warriors are born. Not on the battlefield, but in the silence of their own mind. Before the world ever sees your strength, it is built here in the darkness, when no one's watching. Napoleon Hill taught that success is not an accident. It is a blueprint, a formula, a spiritual law. And those who follow it with faith, with hunger, and with relentless belief will receive their reward. So trust that process, even when you can't see it, even when it's slow. Because what you're building is not just a result, it's a self. The kind of self that doesn't beg for respect, but earns it in silence. The kind of self that walks into a room and commands it, not with ego, but with presence. The kind of self that others look at and say, they've got something real inside them, and they do. It's called certainty. This certainty is not loud. It doesn't need to prove anything. It just knows that if it holds the vision long enough, the world will rearrange. Knows that if it keeps planting, watering, and believing, the harvest will come. That's who you are now, a builder, a believer, a finisher. No more starting and stopping. No more chasing 100 goals and finishing none. You focus, you simplify, you lock in on one thing, and you become it. Not casually, not when it's convenient, but obsessively, with every thought, every breath, every night, including tonight. Even now, your subconscious is getting the message. We are not the same anymore. We do not entertain weakness. We do not speak self-doubt. We do not live in fear. We are no longer reactive. We are intentional. We are no longer scattered. We are strategic. And this night, this moment, this decision changes everything. Because you'll never again drift through your life half asleep. From this moment on, your life will be built by design. Feel that truth settling in. It may be quiet, but it is powerful. You're no longer wishing for change. You are becoming the change. You're no longer hoping things work out. You are creating the outcomes. This is the shift that happens in high performers, in visionaries, in legends. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's awareness. Awareness that the only enemy is the old you, and the only weapon is belief. So let the old version fall away. The version that broke promises to itself, that waited for the right time, that needed validation. That version had its time, but that time is over. Now you walk differently, with stillness in your chest and fire in your heart. Because when belief meets discipline, nothing is impossible. Even as your body rests deeper, your mind is sharpening, calming, focusing. It's being stripped of all the noise and returned to its natural state, power. You were born with it. It was never lost, just forgotten. But now you remember. You remember that life does not respond to effort alone. It responds to clarity, intention, persistence. You remember that the people who rise are not the smartest, they are the most committed. You remember that fear will always exist, but you no longer obey it. You obey your purpose now. You obey your higher self. You obey the version of you who looks in the mirror and sees strength, honor, leadership. That version isn't someday. It's now. It begins now, because change doesn't wait for energy. It requires a decision, and you've already made it. So rest now, deeply. Let the world fall away. Let the noise of the day dissolve into stillness. And know this, every cell in your body, every neuron in your brain is now aligning with your vision. Every heartbeat is moving in rhythm with your dream. You are no longer just drifting. You are being rebuilt from the inside out, quietly, powerfully, permanently. You don't have to see the whole path. You only have to take the next step. And that next step begins within. Right now, as you sleep, your mind is choosing which thoughts to keep and which ones to release. And tonight, you release everything that no longer serves you. The guilt, the overthinking, the fear of failing again, the stories you've replayed 1,000 times, the ones where you lost, where you weren't enough, where things didn't go your way. They've played long enough, and they're not true anymore. You've outgrown them. Tonight they dissolve. They no longer hold power over you. And what takes their place is something you've always had buried inside: clarity, strength, inner stillness, purpose. This is the new soil your dreams are being planted in. Not in anxiety, not in confusion, but in deep, grounded belief. And belief is more than a mindset. It's an energy. It's the most magnetic force in the universe. When you believe fully, not halfway, not with one foot out the door, but with complete conviction, the world bends. The right people show up. The right ideas rise to the surface. The doors you once thought were locked start to open. Because nothing in your external life is random. It is all a reflection of your dominant thoughts. And from this night forward, your dominant thoughts are powerful, focused, abundant, unshakable. You are no longer available for the old life, the life of starting over every week, the life of distractions, of reacting to every little crisis, of chasing validation. That's not who you are anymore. You've moved beyond it. You've stepped into a different level, the level where you don't just talk about change, you live it, where every decision you make, even in your sleep, is aligned with your future self. You know what that future version of you looks like. You can see them clearly, strong, certain, free, and every breath you take now is pulling you closer to becoming that person. The transformation doesn't happen in a single day, but the decision does, and you've already made it. You've already said to yourself, deep down, I refuse to be average. I refuse to live in fear. I refuse to betray my own potential. And once you make that kind of decision, life has no choice but to respond. Every force begins to move, not because of luck, but because of alignment. That's what makes you powerful. You're not just wishing for things, you're aligning yourself with them, energetically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You're not stuck, you're not behind. You're being prepared. You're being sculpted by every experience, every mistake, every closed door. And one day soon, you'll look back and realize that even the delays were divine. Even the waiting had purpose. Because all along, it was never about the goal. It was about who you were becoming on the way to it. This is what Napoleon Hill knew. He understood that the mind, when directed, is the greatest tool we possess. But when left untrained, it becomes our worst enemy. That's why you're here, because you've chosen to train it, to reshape it, to feed it only what is necessary for your rise. No more toxic thoughts, no more self-sabotage, no more mental clutter. From now on, your mind is clean, focused, locked in on the vision. Anything that doesn't serve your mission is removed, silently, without apology. And it's happening now, even in your rest. Because your subconscious is always listening. It's learning new language now. Language of certainty, language of success, language of strength. You're reprogramming the inner voice, the one that used to doubt, the one that used to hesitate, and you're replacing it with one that affirms your greatness, that whispers in every moment of resistance, keep going, you're close, don't stop now. You'll notice it in the days ahead. You'll feel different. Not louder, not anxious, just grounded, just certain. Your steps will be slower, but heavier, because you'll be walking with purpose. No more rushing, no more trying to prove yourself. The work you're doing in this quiet moment is more important than any motivational speech, more important than any external result, because it's not about hype, it's about identity. It's about who you are when no one's looking. It's about who you are becoming when the world is asleep. So sleep. But don't sleep like you used to. Restless, uncertain, fearful. Sleep like a builder. Sleep like a visionary. Sleep like a leader who knows that while their body rests, their dream is taking shape. Your vision is alive now. It has a pulse, and with each beat of your heart, it grows stronger. Keep breathing. Deep, calm, slow. There is no rush here. There is only alignment. The kind of alignment that creates legacy. The kind of alignment that makes you magnetic to everything meant for you. You don't chase anymore. You attract, not by waiting, but by embodying. Embodying your future self so completely that the gap between now and someday disappears. There is no someday. There is only now. There is only this moment. And you, even in rest, are becoming unstoppable. You are not sleeping like someone who is escaping. You are not closing your eyes to hide from the world. You are entering rest with the mind of a creator, a builder, an architect of reality. This is not retreat, it is regeneration. This is not delay, it is design. Because while others drift into unconsciousness, you are aligning your inner world with the world you will soon create. You are building foundations in silence that will shake the ground when the world hears your steps again. And make no mistake, they will hear you. Not because you shouted, not because you demanded attention, but because the depth of your belief will be louder than words. You're not here to live quietly within the lines someone else drew. You were never born to fit in. You were born to build, to elevate, to disrupt, to change the pattern, to break generational chains. You were called for something greater than comfort, greater than survival. And everything that's happened up to this point, every loss, every lesson, every long night, was preparing you to step into that calling without fear. The people who become legends are not the ones who never fell. They're the ones who kept walking with blood on their knuckles and fire in their eyes. And you, even now, in your stillness, are rising. Not all growth makes noise. Sometimes the greatest transformations happen when it's silent, when you're lying still, but your soul is rising from the ashes of who you used to be. You're not tired, you're transitioning, you're not lost, you're being rerouted, you're not broken, you're being rebuilt stronger than you've ever been. You'll wake up with something different in your eyes, a calm confidence, a deeper certainty. You'll stop asking for signs because you'll know. You'll stop explaining yourself because you'll become undeniable. And when people see you, they won't just see what you do. They'll feel who you are. Because true power isn't what you say. It's what you radiate. It's the silent energy that enters the room before you do. And it comes from this, doing the inner work when no one's watching. This is the secret. This is what they don't teach in school, what they don't post about online. The success you see in the light is always built in the dark. It's built in moments like this, when you're alone with your thoughts, when no one's clapping, when no one's watching. This is the forge. This is the fire. And you, even in this peaceful state, are choosing to stay inside it. Not everyone can. Most people need distractions. Most people run from their own thoughts. But you're facing them. You're reshaping them. You're mastering them. And with that mastery comes freedom. The kind of freedom no money can buy. The kind of freedom that can't be taken away. Because it's not dependent on what's outside of you. It comes from knowing, with total conviction, that no matter what life throws at you, you have the mind to overcome it. That you don't need perfect conditions. You only need your belief, your decision, and your action. Let that truth become your breath. Let it sink deeper with every exhale. You are not a victim of life. You are a commander of it. You are not hoping for peace. You are becoming peace. You are not seeking validation. You are walking proof. There's nothing more to chase, nothing more to prove, only to continue becoming. Feel how light your body is becoming. You're floating now, not because you're escaping, but because you've released everything heavy, everything false, everything that used to slow you down. All the comparisons, all the anxiety, all the hesitation, gone. What's left is the essence of your true self, quiet, calm, and unbreakable. And this version of you doesn't need loud motivation. It needs space, it needs silence, it needs this kind of sacred rest. And that's what you've created here. Not just a moment of peace, but a foundation. A place inside yourself you can return to any time. A place where doubt cannot reach, where fear cannot speak, where the only voice you hear is the one that says, keep going. You're doing it. You're becoming everything you once thought was impossible. You've crossed a threshold now. There's no going back, and you don't want to, because what's ahead of you is so much greater than what's behind. You're not interested in repeating the past. You're here to create something new, something that makes your blood move, that wakes your soul up in the morning, that brings meaning to every breath you take. You're not here to kill time. You're here to build legacy. And that legacy begins with how you sleep, how you rest, how you treat this moment. Because rest is not weakness, it's preparation. You are preparing now in your sleep for the opportunities that are already making their way toward you. You're preparing for the challenges that used to break you. Because this time, you'll walk through them without flinching. Not because you're invincible, but because you're trained. Trained in the silence, trained in the inner work, trained by nights like this. Let that sink in as you breathe deeper. Let it become part of your identity. Because from this moment forward, you're no longer just a dreamer. You're a builder, a leader, a master of self. And nothing No fear, no failure, no voice of doubt can take that from you again. And now, as your body lies still and your breath flows gently like a river, know this: you are no longer asleep to your power. Tonight was not just rest, it was rebirth. Tonight you didn't just listen, you remembered. You remembered who you really are when the fear is gone. You remembered the fire that never went out. It only waited for you to return. You remembered that destiny doesn't happen to you, it answers to you. The world won't see it yet, but they will. They'll see it in your silence. They'll feel it in your presence. They'll hear it in your words, fewer but sharper. Because you're no longer living like you used to. You've crossed into something permanent. This is not hype. This is not noise. This is the moment you become unshakable. And from this night forward, every step you take will carry the weight of a mind that has been reprogrammed for greatness. You won't chase, you'll attract. You won't force, you'll flow. You won't doubt, you'll know. You are not becoming powerful, you are power. So sleep now. As the version of you who no longer waits, no longer begs, no longer breaks, you have risen, and the world will adjust.